I just pressed something.
Test, test.
We would have
Oh,
responded right away.
what type of tree?
I was just wondering after I hung up with you why you
I think
were
that's
involved.
a great idea, get them off the curb. I always said years ago that they should.
We got sound.
You accept.
We got sound.
Homeowner accepts it.
Test, test.
The tree can be planted.
Are we?
Okay.
Are we all?
We're good, guys.
But the cities,
Thank you for your patience. So yes, you're officially streaming now. Thank you. I apologize.
All right. We'll resume our discussions.
Sure. I'll just follow up on the idea of uniform tree, all 20 being replaced, in light of the fact that the red maple is a relatively larger tree. And I think the distance between the curb and the sidewalk is probably not more than 2 feet. It doesn't really deserve a large tree format there. And again, this is just from my aesthetics, from what I can see. So replacing it with what the list of approved trees, this American hornbeam, apparently is a smaller tree, which doesn't have the same root structure. Again, this is just I'm Googling this stuff, so I really don't know. But again, I'll just conclude by saying the preference would be all, not only just for uniformity, but to avoid the longer-term implications of lifting up sidewalks. I remember a conversation last week, or the last meeting here, where now very mature trees you're tackling the process of making it a safe sidewalk.
Yes.
And maintain the life of the tree. So that's kind of where the general thought from our side is from.
I'll
But
open it
again,
up.
thank you for consideration.
I'll open it up for further discussion. Anybody have any comments?
I do. Are you acceptable with with 10 trees being removed and not the whole 22?
I'm just representing the HOA and working with the city. My preference, I can tell you my preference would be 20. Now, if it's not acceptable to you guys, then that's what we'll take back to the membership and let them know.
My comment, I have one, is that I agree with you, that there's not enough space, especially as these trees grow big and tall and wide. So I think it would be good, even like some kind of a little, I don't know what the name is, but like a pine, like a small kind of little pine, almost resembling like a bush type thing that would complement the tree, but not be so large.
Again, I was looking at this list from the city, and this American hornbeam jumped off as
Well, the hornbeam is,
maybe a good application.
it's more columnar in growth. It doesn't have the spread in the canopy as the red maple does.
Gotcha.
My only thing is, I'm not exactly sure how hardy they are in high water table area.
Right.
They may do fine. I'm not familiar with that aspect of them. But they definitely are more columnar, so they won't be impeding on the structures as much.
George, can I ask you also, you seem to know a lot about this species of tree, high wind area also, and I mean, the entire area is a high wind area, but
Yeah,
where they are even
yeah.
more so.
It shouldn't, I wouldn't suspect they would be an issue. They're very tight growing, their branch structure's not wide spreading. They don't normally have, limb breakage and things like that, if that's what you're referring to.
Or uprooting.
Well, hopefully not, but
they do have a deeper root system,
They do?
yes.
Okay.
I don't think we should waive the fee for the removal of the trees. I mean, they're live trees.
Yeah, they are. They're healthy. Right now, they're healthy trees.
Exactly.
Okay, so I had a,
Well, one other point, I don't know whether it's feasible or not, or even if it's financially worthwhile, but could they be replaced somewhere, like, say, in Cape May Avenue?
I don't think they could be dug out.
They're not, yeah.
I think
The root ball is too
when they
extensive.
remove them, when they remove the trees, that rather than cut them off and grind a stump down and then put the new tree in adjacent to it, I think it'd be easier to try to dig out. Cut the roots, but dig out the tree and pull it out of the ground. I think they're small enough that could be done. And so you could plant the new trees in the same hole. Is that possible, Ron?
I would have to look at the trees. I mean, if it's 2 foot wide and it's a 6-inch base,
Right.
more than likely the roots go underneath the sidewalk already. So I don't know what, I would have to look at it and dig down alongside the sidewalk to see if the roots are going underneath of it or not. But if you start pulling on them and there's side roots underneath there, it'll pop the sidewalk.
Pop the sidewalk. But if they dug down on each side of the tree to sever those outgoing roots and then try to lift the tree, haul the tree out.
If you got a 6-inch tree and you got a 2-foot wide thing, you're not gonna get a bucket alongside.
Right, okay.
Sever the roots.
I have a question. Just so you know, I'm the council liaison. I don't vote here, so sometimes I like to play devil's advocate. What is the justification for not charging them the $75 per tree? Is there a reason for that?
We're trying to be, I would say, trying to be a little bit more cognizant of the cost to the homeowners association to charge $75 for 20 trees or charge $75 for no trees. That's an alternative. Keep them the same, not take any trees out, say no. Or charge nothing if they agree to take out 10 trees and plant 10 hornbeam or whatever in their spots to be more economically fair to the homeowners association.
Well, I think there should be more discussion, because there's one person that thinks they should pay and one person thinks that they shouldn't. I think somebody else should chime in with it.
We have to take a vote.
Well, I'm not sure that we can arbitrarily just say, we're not going to charge these people, and then we're going to charge the next person. And I think that opens up a problem area.
And again,
I don't think we have that right, or that's not really our decision to do that.
another thing is, this is not an individual homeowner. This is a homeowners association, so a pool of money is
Right.
there, spread among.
For that
the
purpose,
Homeowners association. It's not like.
So
we're
what's the
one
difference,
individual with
you know?
excessive cost.
I guess,
So-
if I may chime in on the conversation, I'm looking at a form that says tree removal request. Now, I can see the idea of charging, you want to make it prohibitive to remove a tree, right? In fact, the price is going up, I believe, that.
Yes, on the
And
19th of this month, it's going to be a $75 application fee.
Right.
Which is non-refundable.
Right.
Whether you're applying for one tree to be removed or 20 trees to be removed.
Right.
If we give 20 trees to be removed, then it's $75 a tree
Right.
after that.
Right.
So for at least one of those trees, it'll be, what, $150, and all the rest then will be just 75.
And I respect the concept. You don't want to make it easy to remove trees. But this is a replacement, so I think that's the distinction in my mind, to answer your comment.
I appreciate that.
So,
Can I ask one question also, because I was a little confused on this. This is public right-of-way, correct?
Yes.
Which means only Manir can remove and replant these trees, correct?
who removes the snow? I mean, God forbid, we don't, the heavy snowfalls that we get here in Cape May, but who comes in and removes the snow and maintains the streets?
It's when the HOA was approved and commissioned, if you will, 3 years ago, the city took ownership of the street,
Who did?
the city.
City, okay.
This was
those
answered
are
at our last meeting with Paul, and
Yeah.
we understood the fact that this is actually considered public right-of-way. This is not, because it's a homeowners association, it's not actually all private property. That
So these
is
are
still
city
public
trees.
access. Right. These are city
Okay.
trees, which would mean then that Manir is the only one that can remove and replace, correct?
Which would mean it would be a cost to the Shade Tree Commission.
What?
Therein lies where the $75
Exactly.
would compensate for the cost of removing them and grinding them.
And that's fine, because that's a cost we would have assumed anyway if we had used a private contractor. So it's, cost of replacement would include the removal and installation of the tree, so that was something the HOA was willing to consider for the 20 trees.
So therefore, with that being said, the $75 fee does not seem excessive at all.
The, what? Not
$75
accept- Okay, so what we have on the table then, what? $75 a tree for 20 trees?
Or you
Or-
approve all 20, or we only approve?
$75 a tree for 10 trees?
Isn't it 10?
I can only speak from my perspective, and certainly the HOA would want to weigh in on this
Right.
in general, but I suspect everyone would want to replace the trees completely.
All of them.
Correct. And if that means $75 a tree to compensate, yeah, that's a fair trade, in my opinion. I don't see a problem with the $75 a tree. In fact, it might be undercharged. I don't know how much you charge to remove a tree.
Thousands.
More than that.
At whose cost is it the replanting these, do we have a bank of trees that they're gonna get pulled from, or who pays for the new tree?
Well, technically, since they're city trees, the
Correct.
city would have to put the trees in.
But I think we're getting on topic here. He's saying he's gonna replace all the trees at his cost,
Correct.
all 20 trees at his cost,
So the removal would be done by Meneer,
Right.
which.
but they would be able to hire their own private contractor to be able to?
No, I think you guys have to install it, right? The new
I
tree?
don't think so.
No.
Is that black, I don't,
Trees.
Would make sense for you to install it, right? I mean, if
I
you're
don't
going to be
ins-
on site.
I don't install trees.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that cost then would be on the homeowners
Correct.
association for not just only the cost of the tree, but the planting of the tree would?
Yes.
Okay.
So what was that?
So the way I'm understanding this, Meneer would remove the trees, but the replantings would be at the expense of the homeowners association, meaning the purchase of the tree and the planting of the tree.
And with the understanding that that tree planted on city property becomes the city's responsibility after that. For maintenance, if needed, and removal, if necessary, for further on down the line. Is that acceptable to everyone? Are we charging $75 a tree or
Well,
what?
we didn't vote on that yet, but it seems
Okay.
like we've sort of
So
discussed
what's your,
that. So the
what's
bigger
your
discussion now
proposal?
would be
Somebody
how many
make,
trees.
somebody make a proposal that we can vote on.
I have a question before we
Make a
do-
motion.
I have a question before we do that. We spoke of the hornbeam. Do we want more variety than just one tree?
Yeah, one type of tree. I mean,
Just one type of tree for all those trees?
No.
A variety?
I think you should look at many different types of trees to go in
I
there.
think you're also being purpose, because now he's saying he doesn't want to be, he wants all the trees to be uniform in that whole complex.
The whole what?
He wants all the trees to be uniformed in that whole complex.
That was the original design, the landscape.
Yeah, I understand that.
Just
I
with the red
I
maple.
disagree with that, but
Right.
you're the homeowners association, but I don't think it should all be the same. I think you're gonna run into, I lived in a city that had, near a city that had elm trees, and these are 50, 60-year-old elm trees. And in the 50s and the 40s or 50s and 60s, when the Dutch elm disease came, they lost every tree in the city, and it looked like a barren wasteland.
I mean, I
Which-
I get your concern there, but there's no say, well, tidal water coming over the bulkhead, taking away all the trees then, what are you gonna do then? You can't predict the future. I mean, that's my opinion.
So you look, okay, yes.
I think
I should,
uniformity,
I think you should
speaking
look,
for you, I'd also have to believe part of the reason for that is you don't want bickering from neighbor to neighbor of who gets which tree, and I preferred that tree.
It's an interesting, interesting way
I guess it's one of those things
to
also.
phrase it, yeah.
Right, okay.
Then again, if you only approve the 10 trees, you will maintain some variety.
That's true. Right.
But that doesn't solve the problem.
I know, I'm just,
well, as I said, any tree you plant in that wide of a street lawn, I mean, it's not 8 or 10, 15 feet like they have in some parts of Lower Township. You could plant a giant redwood in there and not affect the sidewalk, if you live long enough to see the giant redwood. But we don't have that luxury. So any tree you plant in that limited area between the curb and the sidewalk, i.e. the street lawn, is by and far, in the fullness of time, going to affect the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So
Understood.
we may not be around to see it, but then, the successive homeowners might curse us. But okay, what's the suggestion? Is there a motion on the
I'll
table?
make a motion to remove all 20 trees with the understanding of replanting at the cost of the homeowners association and applying the $75 per tree, all 20 trees.
And we remove the trees.
Well, I don't think there's a choice in that. There is no choice.
And we remove the trees.
Yes.
correct.
Okay, the motion on the floor is we allow removal, we remove all 20 trees in the development with the understanding, at $75 a tree.
Yes.
With the understanding that the homeowners association will buy and plant 20 trees in that spot, in those spots.
Yeah, from your approved.
And I suggest something on, vary the thing. You can even put a bald cypress in there,
They get large.
that bald cypress, which is quite an evergreen, it loses its needles in the fall, but it's a different type of green.
Or I could also suggest a sweet bay magnolia. They tend to do well where there's a high water table. And even if you just did a hornbeam, a sweet bay, and alternate it like that, it would actually provide some interest, and it still would look more cohesive, even though you're just using two different species. It might be better with those two.
I have no problem with these suggestions at all. I would,
We'll take it for a vote.
Oh, is there a second?
Pardon, is there a
Somebody
second?
second?
Jim
I'll
makes the
second it.
motion.
I'll second it.
Second, okay. $75 a tree.
Got it.
We remove the trees.
Yep.
You buy and replace the trees
Right.
in a suitable combination of the 20 trees that are there.
gotcha.
All right.
Now
You're
the-
going to take this, we'll vote on it, and I think we'll probably approve it, but you take it back to the homeowners association, get back to us next month or the month thereafter on how this goes down,
Perfect.
okay? And if they don't like it, then we start over.
Great.
Jay, I assume that he's gonna get a copy, like, written out proposal of exactly what we want,
A copy of the proposal.
and so that way also from here on out that he understands, or HOA understands that they are city trees that we are responsible for.
Well, I can, yeah, go
I
ahead.
think,
May I-
I think we should have it on writing and actually forward to them, so that way it's a documentation, that way we don't lose it 20 years down the road, please.
So you want to,
If I could get just a brief memo from the board here?
Yes.
That just outlines the terms and
I'll-
also some of the recommendations of the species that you guys think would be appropriate. And then that'll be a comprehensive,
okay, I'll write a memo, and you and I will talk after the meeting.
Okay.
With the type of trees we approve.
Yeah.
And we'll send you, do we have your address?
it is in the application,
Here,
isn't it? Maybe,
hang on,
maybe not.
hang on, let me look.
My email address is somewhere hanging around.
Spicer Street. I
Yeah,
got,
my email address is in the, on the application form.
people will address it to you, right?
That's fine.
Okay. You want us to email it to you?
Pardon?
You want us to email it to you?
Yeah, just email me a brief memo of what
I
your
don't think
what
we
your
have, I don't think
parameters
we
are.
have, I don't think we have the email.
It's on the form, the application. You have the shade tree removal
Hang
application?
on,
Second, Jay. Commissioner Jay?
here it is. Jack G.
Don't say it out loud.
Jack TRG, right?
No, Jay,
Jack TRG at gmail.com.
Jay, not,
That's fine. That's fine.
Don't say it out loud. So that you don't want to give his
All right, all
address
right.
to the public.
We have that information.
Ignore that last comment. All right, we'll email it, or I would prefer sending you a letter.
That's fine, whatever you prefer. And can I borrow a pen and I'll give you my address? Thank you.
Confidentially.
okay, so Jay, we had the motion, we have a second.
We got do we
didn't
have a
bring it to a
second?
vote.
We have a second.
you have a
We'll
second.
vote on this.
You can vote while he's writing, you know.
Yeah, we could vote on it now. Why are you doing that?
He can't hear you.
We can vote on it right now while he's writing that.
Okay, we can vote on this right now while he's writing his address out. All those in favor of the motion
Aye.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you for your patience, working with us.
All right, thank you, Jack. All right, Arbor Day. The School has come back with a proposal for Arbor Day that some members of the commission come and read storybooks to 3 preschool classes. I don't think that fulfills the idea of Arbor Day celebration. I'm open for suggestions that any members might have about doing an Arbor Day celebration, including contacting West Cape May, Jack, or the gentleman over in West Cape May to find out what they're doing and see if we can't piggyback on their celebration that they might be doing. This is in order to fulfill our contractual requirements for Tree City USA for next year. But reading stories to preschool classes is not my idea of an Arbor Day celebration.
Great.
I don't know that much about preschool kids, but they have the attention span of a gnat. And I've done that before after school, and it's very difficult. Yes?
It is actually a good idea, but what you supplement it with to make it a true Arbor Day celebration is you bring seedlings, tree seedlings with you, and then you pass them out to all the children, and you tell them to go home and plant the seedlings in their yards. So that's how you get the message
Right.
out, read a good book
We
to
did
some
that-
preschool, and then you pass out tree seedlings, and you have them go plant something in their backyard and to encourage it for Arbor Day. So that would be my recommendation, to get a hold of some seedlings.
You have in
Might be
your-
too late
you
to
have
get
in
them
your
from the
list here
DEP,
when-
but that would be the,
What is past experience? What has,
I don't,
what have they done in years
I-
past?
Jim,
We've planted a tree. We've planted a tree. We had the whole auditorium filled with the whole school class, all K through 6 classes, and we made a presentation, a Tree City USA presentation from the podium. We've had another the thing out back where we actually planted a tree in the back of the school. So we've done things like that. There's a little bit more commemorative of Arbor Day celebration than reading books. And passing out seedlings, I don't know whether we're going to be able to come up with seedlings between now and April 22nd through the
Carol
20th.
has
Jay,
comment? Jay?
yeah, in the past, we've given a book to the library from us
Yeah.
for the school. And I thought that was a pretty good idea. You have to
Can
come
I-
up with an
can I
acceptable
comment?
book.
Can I comment also, in the past, we've had auditorium with all of the elementary school attending, and they did programs up on the stage where they sang songs and participated in little, kind of reading poems.
Yes.
All kinds of things, just
And
honoring.
recycling programs
Yeah,
and
we
all
had the
that stuff.
recycling program, that's right, exactly.
So they did quite a bit of
Right,
things.
yeah.
So they proposed to April 22nd through, Monday 22nd through Friday, April 26th, a Grow Green Spirit Week. They're not interested in planting a tree, but suggested that members of the Shade Tree Commission come to school on Friday the 26th and read a story to the four preschool classes. So we need 4 people that would like to come and read a storybook. I'll be willing to go on the 26th, on Friday, and read a story.
Well, I'd be more than happy to do that.
I'd
I've
too.
certainly done that enough, but
I've done that.
I'd rather go to, my opinion is I would rather go to a little bit older of students.
They go to what?
A little older, maybe 3rd grade, 4th grade, 2nd,
Maybe we could
Or-
spread it out. Do
Yeah.
preschool grade, somebody do a 3rd grade, somebody do a 5th grade, and that way you cover the entire building. Well, I mean, a section of, I think it might be good to use the
I
different
think all
grades.
good suggestions. I think the physical aspect of actually planting a tree is a beautiful thing to do also.
Well, we don't
Right.
have to do it.
We did
We
that.
don't have
We
to
did.
do it in conjunction with the school. We can go and have our own planting at Harborview Park, at Kiwanis Park, at, wherever else we want to plant a tree.
With an open invitation?
Pardon?
With an open invitation? That's.
Yeah, people are invited to attend a planting of a certain type of a tree in Cape May Avenue, near the Xeriscape Garden. something like that, put a tree in there.
Jay, I have a question. Are they saying they don't want a tree planted? Is the school saying they would not want to have a tree planted?
That's correct.
They don't want
We
one?
don't want another
Oh.
tree.
To take care.
That's,
I mean, don't forget, there's been a change.
I personally, in the past, have planted probably 10 to 12 trees, and they last about a month and a half, and the kids rip them down. So,
Yeah.
swing around them, and
I know the last one we planted there didn't make it, but
Well, the last 2 or 3 trees been planted in the back up against the woods, and those seem to be doing
yeah.
relatively well.
Black cherry,
Because the kids, they go back there, and the nature trail is eventually going to put in back of the school, goes right near that, where that area is. So what do you, I'll check with West Cape May and find out what they're up to, and if we can piggyback with them, fine. And I'll have our secretary get in touch with everybody, say, this is what we're going to do, unless you want to come up with something better today.
I like your suggestion. I think that's a good thing that would involve not only the school, but citizens also, which I'm sure they would agree that with the Cape May, to be able to, be informed and enjoy. So that's my thoughts too. I think that's a better idea. I've noticed in the past when we've had the tree planting at the elementary school,
Yes.
most of the time it turns into I don't know what word I want to use. It's like nobody's paying attention. They're all running around. They're having a good time. It's not really a program. It's an adventure. And there's nothing wrong with that except for the fact that we're celebrating
Arbor Day.
Arbor Day, right?
All right, does anybody have any other suggestions?
I just have a question, not so much.
What?
Not a question, not so much of a suggestion. So what would it take to coordinate the planting of a tree, be it at Cape May Avenue or wherever to pick a location, to pick a tree, to pick a date?
George coming up with a tree.
George gets the,
I get the tree.
We'll get Ron, get Ron to bring his shovel, and we'll plant a tree, wherever you want.
Well, so we'd have to coordinate this, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. So
Yeah.
who would coordinate this?
Yeah.
Are you, so maybe I have a question for this, Jim. Are you talking about coordinating with the school? So there would be.
No, I'm just talking
Oh,
about
okay.
coordinating
No, not
amongst
coordinating.
ourselves
School, they
and
don't want a
then
tree,
somehow
they're not
getting word out to the
Yeah,
public. that
you'd
it's
have
an
to do that.
invitation
There would
for
have to
anybody
be-
who'd like to attend.
Yeah.
I have a question. Could we try, is there a possibility we can get that hybrid chestnut tree again and go for round 2, see if we can get these things
I'd have
growing?
to check with Bud to find out whether we're still in contact with the chestnut tree. The ones that we planted, the great fanfare on Cape May Avenue, which lasted a year and a half to 2 years, and they died. In their place, we planted 2 magnolia trees in there as commemorative trees, and they're doing quite well, those
Okay.
trees.
Magnolias do terrific in Cape May. They really do. They
Yeah.
thrive.
But those are commemorative trees that we
I like the idea of that chestnut tree, though. I mean, but maybe a different location for the chestnut tree. That just may not have been the best spot. So maybe we should still look and see if those are available. The chestnut tree hybrid. I mean, if you want, I don't know who the contact person is to find that
Where?
out.
Yeah, because Mark Pask did.
Yeah.
it was Mark Patz.
It was Mark who had,
It was Mark Patz that contacted
Mark, yeah.
the Chestnut Organization.
but do you know where he obtained those?
I don't know
From where?
The Chestnut Tree Foundation is still in existence and doing well, I understand.
I mean, I could look into that,
Contact.
see. Okay.
Hey, we could gain that, but
Well, I'll
I
look,
don't think we can get a bunch of chestnut trees to plant between now and April 22nd.
Yeah.
well, I can give them a
Depends
call.
on
I
their
mean, if I can
availability.
find the information, I'll be happy to.
Let me
All-
check with West Cape May, find out what they're doing. Maybe we can piggyback on something like that.
And this will be on the day, April 26th. I'm just looking it up now. It'll be on Arbor Day, whatever we choose to do.
We'll be probably on, I don't know what their schedule is beyond, because they've got to do something too. They're Tree City USA, so they're required to do something for Arbor Day.
I know.
So maybe we can help them with that, with their efforts and piggyback on it, or maybe they'll have a suggestion we can do with Cape May, and they can help us. So let me check with them and find out what's going on. And I'll inform Connie, yeah,
Yeah, keep the commission abreast of what's going on, so that way we're
Yes.
not making a decision at the next meeting.
Yes, all right.
Or we will be making a decision, but at least we will have some kind of understanding.
Jay, I have one more thing. Would it be possible to plant this tree near the school so some kids that were picked by their teachers or something could follow us over there and watch it or something like that?
I think there's some spots, outside the fence along Lafayette Street that need a tree.
And that way it would be sort of a combination of community and
Yeah.
school.
The area along Lafayette Street in front of the school running almost all the length of the park, you know, the vacant land is there. Those trees were put in by the homeowners across the street several years ago. So,
I mean, that way the tree
but it's on city properties between the fence and the sidewalk, because there's no street lawn there. You know, the sidewalk is right up against the curb. But that's city trees we maintain. But I think there's a few spots in there we could put a tree if we wanted to.
that way the kids wouldn't be on their
No, it wouldn't be
their
on school.
playground, their
Yes,
area
no,
where
it
they
wouldn't
would
be on
be
the- wouldn't be on the
tempted
school
to do whatever
property.
they've done to the other.
Just keep in mind
All
on
right.
Lafayette Street Park there, that is access road for fire emergency helicopter landing site, so.
No, no.
I'm saying,
This would be,
I know where you're saying that, but some spots are opened up, so that way the apparatuses can get in that park there, so don't, make sure you guys
Frank.
take that in consideration, please.
this would be on the street side.
Yes,
On the street side of the fence.
Yes.
It wouldn't be back in where
Correct, no,
the
I
emergency
understand.
landing.
What I'm saying though, on the street side itself, some spots are wide open, so the apparatuses can get in there safely.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
that's
'cause
why there's a big gap there.
the trees that they have there are not very tall, you're right.
I'm saying as the road's going in.
Quick thought, too, that we have the Historical Society, the old, right behind City Hall.
Right.
And we planted, do you remember, many
In
years ago?
2012,
the pine
in
tree
2012, we planted a space tree.
Right.
There.
And I think it would
And
be-
that was 2.5 feet tall
Right,
when
and
we
it
got it.
hasn't- it
It's
hasn't
over
grown.
12, it's over 12 feet now. And it's doing very, very well.
But as George suggested, a magnolia tree, I think would be really historically beautiful next to the old Buchanan, whatever his name is, Buchanan.
Next to the old what?
The house, the name of the house. the
Oh, it's a
historical-
colonial house.
Colonial
Colonial
house,
house.
yes.
Have you seen that?
So that's just a suggestion. That
Yeah,
might be
yeah,
a
that's
nice-
another place we could plant another tree. Back toward the
Right over
parking
here.
lot,
Yeah.
back
Right.
further. We could plant a tree in there.
Right, yeah.
All right. I'm sure the colonial house would approve of a tree going into that area.
Well, that's a city property, isn't that?
That is city property.
I know
Yeah,
that.
that's city property.
We should,
All right,
Kids with pictures.
yeah.
Frank, you had a question on a tree on West Perry Street.
Are we still on the old business here, or are we jumping around? I mean, did we talk about the sidewalk, and did we talk about Franklin Street tree removals? Are we in the new business now, or are we on the old business still?
I think we're into new business.
Okay, that's why I want to make sure I'm following the map here, correct. Yes, West Perry and,
It's not Congress. It's not Congress Street.
Yeah, the
but
address
it's
is-
West Perry Street.
470 West Perry.
Right near,
Yeah, I don't know.
right across from the Key West
Yes,
Taco Place,
yes,
right?
that is correct.
Yeah, that tree has been that way since I've been in town. And that's been 30-some odd years.
We also pruned the tree the other day. We reduced it by almost 50%.
I was going to say,
weight.
yeah. And I'm glad, thank you, Ron, that you got out there that quickly to do that. I was kind of surprised that it was like the next day, yeah. But the only thing I could say was with sycamores, like Jay just mentioned, we don't tend to have as much of a falling over, even if they're hollowed. We have that one tree on Ocean Street for the past 20-plus years. I mean, you could walk your pet dog right through it at the base. But we keep the crown reduced, to mitigate any potential risk. So I think that's another thing we have to do is keep at the crown reductions.
So do you think that tree on, because that's in your district, right? The
It's
one-
already been taken care of.
the What?
It's already been taken care of, the one on West Perry. Ron already went out and reduced the crown. He
Yes,
just
we've
said,
been taking pieces off of that tree for a couple of years, and the tree is still thriving. And I don't think it's in any worse shape now than it was 10 years ago, you know? Because I've got a couple of trees on New York Avenue that got the same. You could practically push your way through the sycamore tree.
Yeah, we've reduced about 50% of the weight off of it, so. And
So let's just put a watch on that tree, you know, as you go by. Take a look at it, make sure it's not deteriorating any further.
Yeah.
All right? 624 Broad Street. There was a application in for removal of a tree and approved to remove one dead tree with no fee required because there was a dead tree at 623 or 624 Broad Street. Driving by the other day, both trees were removed. This was an 18-inch tree, and Carol Sick confirmed it, took a measurement of the tree and took some pictures today. I propose writing a letter to the owner asking them to come to the meeting and provide the rationale to the Shade Tree Commission of why that healthy tree, 18-inch tree was, or actually probably a 16-inch tree at 4.5 feet up was removed.
It's right next
And failing that within a reasonable amount of time, 2 or 3 weeks, we asked the code enforcement official to issue a summons to appear in municipal court and estimate the cost of the tree based on $27 a basal inch. It's a 16-inch trunk diameter. Half of that is radius, so that's 8 inches squared times 3.14 times $27 an inch, basal inch. And that would be the fee for the tree.
and is that a private residence?
And in court, there would be probably most likely $100 code violation and a $33 court fee. And I'd put that in a letter to the owner within 3 weeks.
She said she was going to get me one, I didn't say.
And as of the 19th of this month, the new ordinance is coming in effect. Okay, next down from 6 inches do we have authority over, down to 3 inches. When they come in for an application for a tree removal, there's a $75 fee for the tree removal, just the application. And if the tree is allowed to be removed, if it's a dead tree and allowed to be removed, there would be no fee involved, okay, if it's a dead tree. But it would be another $75 if the tree is involved. If, like this application came in, it'd be a $75, now it would be a $7 fee plus $75 for each tree to be, if it's allowed to be removed. So 10 trees, or 20 trees, it would be 20 times $75 in addition to the $75 application fee. That's the difference. Oh, and also, the changes to the ordinance or changes to the applications. Now we don't give up trees that are in the footprint of the house, new house, the driveway or the outbuildings. That was just a loss of the trees. Now they're required to replant like for like. Every tree that's been to be taken down with this 6 feet of the new construction or something, new construction, they have to replant that number of trees on the lot somewhere. If the lot is too small to do that, they provide the Shade Tree Commission with money to purchase the tree to plant someplace else. That's the differences in the ordinance. From 6 inches down to 3 inches now, we will have authority over as of the 19th.
Jay, did we ever specify how much money they would have to pay if they can't replant trees? What do they give to the tree bank? What's the fee?
They would provide a fee of, it's 1.5 to 2 inch tree,
Okay,
you know, to the, whatever that costs.
okay.
If they can only plant 3 of the 6 trees that were taken out, then they have to give the shade tree money to purchase and plant other trees. This would get our tree planting thing a little bit of a boost.
Right.
For the particularly the areas in East Cape May that they approved several years ago, the floor area ratio changes to allow them to put more house on a smaller lot, which adversely affects the mature growth that's in this area. And this is what's happening. We're losing a lot of mature trees because the houses are getting bigger in that area.
Right.
As these ranch houses or one-story cottages are built up and a 3.5-story mansion is put in its place. So,
I have a question regarding the,
Jay?
Jay, a question regarding the application $75 fee.
yes,
Now, you broke it down to regardless of the number of trees on one property, if the application goes in, it would
One
be just
fee.
$75 fee. But how does the language read in the now voted on and approved ordinance? I'm pretty sure it still reads that we were going to charge $75 per tree.
that's if the tree is allowed to be taken down. The
No,
$75
no,
application fee
no,
is
no,
non-refundable.
Jay, that's not what I'm saying. The 75, just forget about the removal fee. The $75 application fee,
Right.
the way I'm pretty sure it passed through council is it reads, if you have 2 trees, 3, 4, whatever the multiple of trees is, it's $75 application
right.
fee per
Non-refundable.
tree.
No, I don't read it that way.
No, I don't think so.
I don't read it that way.
Non-refundable.
I think
No,
it's
it's
just-
non-refundable, I'm saying, but it's per tree.
No.
You're making it per property.
No, it's per application.
Application.
It's
So,
per
so
app-
they, so the
If this guy-
homeowner wants to apply for 5 trees to be taken down on his property.
He comes
just
in-
one $75.
Right, and that's not refundable. We say,
Okay.
no, you can't take any down.
Is that the way it reads?
No, you can't take any down, he doesn't get any money back. But if we say you can take 3 of those trees down, so it's
Okay.
3 times 75 then after that to take
Yeah,
those
that,
trees.
strictly, I'm just strictly
Unless
singling
of
out the
course-
application fee.
Unless, of course, the tree is DED, dead,
Right,
dead.
okay.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, the tree assessment, or the sidewalk assessment. Please continue your efforts to walk around and look at sidewalks, please, in your districts, and come up with a list. Let's try to do it by the next,
Well, I have a situation right on my
Question too, go ahead.
on my street, actually, on the opposite side of the street. It's a beautiful elm tree. It's in front of a condo association. It's at 208 Windsor Avenue. The sidewalk is a slate sidewalk that's been broken apart. What do we do? Do we formulate a letter and send it to that condo association? I don't know who the contact person is, but how do we proceed once we see an issue like this? I mean, the tree.
there are a couple of people that work with slate.
This slate is almost gone. There's,
Okay, there are a
there's
couple
just
people
a few
work
small
with
broken
slate.
pieces.
Yeah, they'll take one large piece of slate, break it up a little bit, and bring it
Right.
together and leave it.
No, I understand, and they're going to have to ramp
Without
it.
too much of a,
But, yeah, I understand that, but my question is, how do we proceed to
don't-
inform the,
I don't think the shade tree's responsibility is to do that. When we come in
I thought
with
that's-
recommendations on sidewalks, we'll write up the whole list, and I suggest we're gonna give it to the city manager, and he can do what he wants with it. I mean, the last time we did this, it was the Public Works supervisor that came in and wrote letters all over town, and we had like 45 or 50 sidewalk, 50/50 applications that year. I suggest we don't kick that can of worms over too far. When there's some really bad sidewalks, as you found in your walks, when the people put cones in front to alert people of the sidewalk is bad, that's a serious situation for health and safety. So,
So Jay, I just have an observation. I started in my area looking at sidewalks and trees, and I noticed how the street lawn varies from maybe 1.5 feet to maybe 4 feet.
Yes.
All right? And I started thinking, is it really the job of the Shade Tree Commission to be checking out sidewalks? I mean, isn't that something that the city code enforcement should be looking at that? Don't we look at trees and,
well, only insofar as the tree adversely affects the sidewalk. Which, there are sidewalks that are crumbling in Cape May, have nothing to do with trees.
Yeah, I just think we're
Okay.
opening a can of worms.
That's what I just said. Yeah. We were asked to do it the last meeting,
All right,
and
well,
everybody said, yeah, that's what we'll do. So, let's,
I think it's supposed to be
Continue
approved
on
the way
with
he said it.
Okay.
Want to make sure that.
A lot of my areas in Lafayette.
so try to look at your,
Lafayette Street is,
try to look at your districts and come up with a list next.
I just have one more comment concerning our new
Thank you.
ordinances and the TPZ, the tree protection zone that we are requesting
Yes.
for anybody building. My brother's building a house in West Cape May, and I just brought a picture of how those trees are protected according to their ordinance. I mean, it looks.
That's, that's a Solidberry. Our ordinance says
I know.
post and rail.
Yeah.
So you can see that there's nothing thrown
I
over
was
the
just
top of that.
impressed. I thought they
Yeah,
were
this,
there
this is
before they had the backhoe.
this is a Fort Apache approach
Yeah.
in West Cape May, where you have solid sheets of plywood, and you can't see behind them.
yeah, you want to
Yeah.
pass that down?
Yeah.
I was just impressed. because
We asked it to be a post and rail type of thing, or 2x4s
Those trees.
and rails, around the tree at a suitable
They do a
distance.
nice job.
The distance is usually 1 foot, 1 foot per inch in diameter of the tree. 10
Was that
foot,
brick?
a 10-inch diameter tree, it should be out 10 feet around the tree. That'll cover it nearly to the drip edge.
Just a comment.
All right. That's all I have. Does anybody else have anything?
I have a couple items.
Pardon?
I have a couple items. What's that? All right, thanks, guys. I was talking with the city manager. I don't know if he wants to participate in this conversation this time, but it was suggested by Fiore, one of our last, our members. He made a recommendation of removing these trees that are between the Acme, the back of the Acme and the Franklin Street School. Some of them are just weeds. And we were thinking about, getting your approval to remove these trees and possibly replace it and spread it out to make it look a little bit nicer.
Yeah. I looked.
Oh, it's been
at that.
done.
It's gone.
Shane, I already looked at.
Carol already addressed that. Two or three of the trees have been removed. The one tree with the ivy has not,
The
right?
one closest, I already talked to Paul about, yeah.
So now that we all know what's going on, including myself, that's what was done. And do we plan on putting new trees in there?
Yeah, we're going to wait until the library project is, I think they're done, but I'd rather wait for them about another couple more weeks, and then we'll work out, plant some more trees along there, get that ivy out of that other tree, clean that tree up so it could be healthy and not get strangled by becoming an ivy tree, and dress that whole grass strip up back there, yes.
Is, Ron, the best
That's
season
not a-
for new plantings would be late summer?
Actually, spring would be better, but.
Spring would be
Depends
better?
on when they have the school. If you're doing construction, you don't want to be planting
So
in.
time frame, you're not going to be able to get them in this spring, so that would mean,
We might be able to plant them in the next couple
Fall, it's-
weeks.
It's good. I mean, I
I mean, we're-
believe the spring's better because.
We're not even in the spring yet, so
Yeah.
we're still winter.
that's really what I'm getting at.
Yeah, yeah,
You believe that
yeah,
within
we-
the timeframe? it-
Yeah, I think in the next 30 days that we'll be able to
Okay.
ask Public Works to,
And if not, then it would have to get pushed off until the fall planting season, I guess, right?
right.
Well, you don't want to do it in July and August, but, I mean, you have April, May, first half of June, so
Okay.
there's considerable amount of time.
Did you want to talk about the Franklin Street School?
Yes.
The architect at the Franklin Street School contacted us and wanted us to retrim the tree in the front there. Ron has been there twice already trimming it, right?
Yes.
So I gave Ron the phone number to the architect, and he would like to have one of the shade tree commissioners there with him to understand what exactly he's looking for. Would you want to?
And to make sure it's not detrimental to the tree, what he wants to have done. He sent a photo, and the photo was taken last summer, and we've already trimmed the tree twice between last summer and now. So it's, two things have been done to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's looking for.
Yeah. I mean,
Now, wasn't there, what about they wanted to do a cutout for a sitting area.
Yeah, I'm actually dead against that whole sitting area,
That's-
just because of my,
That's still in the design phase, so
Right.
I don't think we need to.
well, I still want to elaborate on it,
Yeah.
because, as we all know, it could damage the roots, but I think, and as a bigger picture, this brick cut, sitting area does not fit historic Cape May. I think two beautiful benches will serve the purpose and fit this town more appropriately. And then,
What about the trees behind the old, what do you call it, sacristy, or what do you call it, the parish house for the school, the church, the city owns? They're going to take some trees out behind there, too?
I think that's already been done. If it was to be done, I think it already happened. Behind the church.
The church that the city owns, that Eastland Theater companies
Oh,
go into.
I don't think there's any
There's a
trees.
parish house next to it, which now houses the radio station.
I don't think there's any trees.
behind it.
I don't think there's any trees back there right now.
Yeah, well, not behind there that I know of. There's street trees.
Street trees.
Yeah. I don't know about behind.
I don't recall any.
I don't think there's any street trees on that side of the street.
There are two street trees that are going to be removed for the
Golden.
driveway of the new parking lot where the CCA building is currently.
But about the new
There
parking
are-
lot behind, that's where the parish house is, right?
There's two street trees in front of the parish house that are going to be removed for the apron of the new parking lot that's going in that location.
Okay.
That sounds good,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the last
That's
thing,
like 5 trees on,
and the last thing I want to bring up, which is something that is kind of unique that was brought to my attention. This commission is one of the only boards and commissions that doesn't have a vice chair. So I'd like to entertain an idea to have a vice chair for this commission, if ever we need to cover Jay's position or even help Jay run the meetings.
I'm sorry, it doesn't have a what?
A vice chairperson.
Oh,
So I'd like to put that on the agenda for next meeting, if that's okay with
we
anybody.
put it on the agenda, we'll put it on the agenda for next meeting?
Yeah.
I'll entertain motions for people for nominations and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're getting ready to get rid of me, is that what you're telling?
No, I just, sometimes,
No, I
it's nice to have your neighbors, tap your shoulder every once in a while.
If I can't make a meeting, I would ask somebody like Carol or George, or somebody who's been here some of the longest, to run the meeting. But if you, vice chair would be good.
Yeah, if nobody has a problem with that. Besides that, I have nothing else.
Okay, we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting. All right. I will, I think that's about all the damage we can do today. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. You have another,
Public portion.
pardon? Oh, I like to open up the meeting to the public. I normally don't do that because usually by the time this part of the meeting, the public has come and gone. All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
I
motion.
can make that motion.
One, second by Carol. Thank you very much for coming. I got some letters to write.
Some letters to write.
I've been on, I think it's 21 years, 20 or 20. I mean,
I think you'd be a good choice.
well, thank you.
I mean,
I'm actually here. Jay wasn't on when Jay had been at the Shade Tree Commission, then left for a while. And I joined, and then he came back 2 years later. So he's probably got more years.
George,
This,
Yes. Yes, sir.
oh my goodness.
before you go, I want you to look, I'm going to write the letter. I'm going to write the letter for the homeowners association. So I just want to make sure I got everything down.